recorded. Permisotio.
Greetings. And greetings to everyone.
To Zoom and Facebook.
Really?
Susan. Okay.
And we're preparing for another wonderful broadcast.
Greetings to all my dear sisters. Greetings. Peace and love.
Yes. So what's okay?
I'll use any that comes to mind.
Yes, yes.
So there we go. And I appreciate that our Facebook viewers are very patient as we open up another live broadcast of Building Legacy. I'm honored to be joined by an illustrious regal co-host, Sister Dr. SndDr Richards. And as is customary, we are very grateful. That's true. I'm SntDr ChenziRa. There you go. Because I was going.
You are not just SntDr ChenziRa. You are majestic, divinely bestowed, honorable High Priestess, SntDr ChenziRa. That's who you are. Let's lift each other up. In this world,
she's all that.
Yeah, in this world, there are people who want to break us down. I think we need to lift each other up. Give thanks.
She's a light bearer.
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks. Give thanks.
And a beautiful teacher, orator, griot.
That's right. That's right. All of that. All of that.
It's always a joy and a privilege to be joined by such illustrious, powerful sister queens and African queen mother warriors who are embracing of revolution, healing, spiritual upliftment, purification by air, fire, earth, water, and spirit, among other things. You know, being able to bring that entrepreneurial vibration and shift into all things. And in light of our illustrious guest that has joined us, a very powerful, well-spirited giver, nurturer, and caretaker, I would start first and foremost. We are so honored to have joining us for part of our broadcast today of Building Legacy, Queen Grandmother, regal sister queen grandmother, Sharon Oshun Parris-Chambers. And I'd like to give—
It's my honor.
It's an honor to have you join us. And it's also important that we give the traditional, we want to give a concise bio so you have an idea as a viewer, as a listener to Building Legacy this day of May 8th, 2021, of who our illustrious sister queen grandmother is. Sharon Oshun Parris-Chambers, born in Kingston, Jamaica, is the co-founder and president of Pan-Carib Business Solutions, headquartered in Jamaica. It is a communications company providing public relations, web design, hosting and security, news production, and distribution services via the portal caribnewsroom.com. In January 2021, she was appointed ambassador in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the State of the African Diaspora, which represents the Economic Community's 6th region of the African Union. She furthers the Pan-Africanist organization's goals and missions through diplomatic engagements locally, regionally, and internationally. Her Excellency is a spiritual community leader and founder of Ma'at Sisterhood Circle, a virtual meeting that provides spiritual development and community empowerment for women. She is a non-denominational minister, holistic coach and therapist, author and poet, Sister Queen Grandmother Oshun, alongside her beloved Theo, her husband, have co-founded the Temple of Inner Peace and have published self-help books such as Poetry from the Rose of Sharon, Living Life as a Sacred Practice, The Sage Within, Theoism, Discover the Universe Within, all available through the authors and at www.caribstore.com. And I'd like us to really welcome our beloved sister, Queen Grandmother, Her Excellency, Sharon Oshun Parris-Chambers. Yay!
Welcome, welcome. Wonderful.
I accept this beautiful welcome. I feel honored and I feel at home in this space and place. It is when our hearts meet together as one in this divine unity that we can express this way and that I can receive in the way that I'm receiving all the accolades that are given. It is not always easy to accept gifts. It may be much, much easier to give accolades and give praise. But then when it returns, we also have to receive, give and take. That beautiful universal concept must be balanced in Mahat. So thank you so much.
Oh,
Give
wow.
thanks. And for those that may have overlooked what building legacy is about, building legacy, this is a particular broadcast where we bring in our versations. We move beyond just conversations into life-giving versations around efforts that are linked to interdisciplinary and transcultural experiences. What's going on in the earth? How are we able to take action and literally, not just inferentially and not just critically, but literally build legacy? What are we doing to build legacy in our respective areas around global affairs, various global movements, things that are happening in the Caribbean, things that are happening in Eurasia, things that are happening in Africa, all through the Americas, all through the Pacific Isles and around the globe? And how are we able to build and move this forward? There have been versations that we've had that always have some musical interlude in between, because we know we start to speak of things that are very strong, very engaging. And right now there are so many issues, global, regional, local, impacting our sisters and brothers, that's part of why we have this broadcast, Building Legacy. And we would love for our illustrious guest to spend the balance of time that she's here with us, sharing more about, what are some things that you prioritize? What are some ideas that you have around building legacy? What are some things that you're already doing, which I know could be a long list, and I know you will give us the pieces therein. And of course, I ask our illustrious co-host, Sister Dr. SandRa, any inquiry that you want to bring up, bring it up. Bring it up, because I see it in you.
I'm so excited, honestly, to be able to sit. I'm looking forward to listening. But I must say up front that I have been fortunate enough to be in the audience of the Ma'at Sisterhood Circle. So I have experienced the energy of our guest and the wisdom and the grace of our guest. So I'm really looking forward to sitting back. And as far as the accolades are concerned, I mean, to have an African woman who is joining spirituality along with an appointment as ambassador, an African woman in a leadership role for the state of the African diaspora. I mean, I'm sitting right back here with my pen and my pencil to take notes and to learn from one of our great, great, great leaders.
Thank you so much. I'm wondering who you're speaking about. But we're talking about us as the sacred feminine who have come into our power and the knowing of who we are at this time, and the acceptance of that knowingness and that awareness as spiritual beings having this physical experience. And so we want to talk a little, just pick that up. And, you know, I have a sister with the great heraldess. She's a non-denominational minister as well, Adama Alaji. And so I watched the growth of the women in the transition individually in their experiences. When we came together, it was not a formal agenda. We would come and she would say, tell me what is on your minds. And so it's a space where we could do that. And after many weeks and months, I got the feeling of the second family within the spiritual space. And they were in a position of transitioning from just meeting in someone else's space to meeting in their own space where they could own it. And they could also have a broadcast center, a studio, and they could produce their products and welcome people in the space to dance, to sing, and to host. And I have been able to witness them through prayer, through meditation, through dance, through asking. They now have their own center in Buckhead, Atlanta, and attracting many people like myself and guests from all over the world into their space where they remember their lineage. They pray, they ask, and they do ceremonies around wealth and gaining more of what they want. So I borrowed their concept and brought it here and turned it into a virtual space here in Jamaica. And during the pandemic, around August of last year, I just finished working with Barry G, this well-known hero here in Jamaica. Has been honored with an OD, one of our order of distinction, I believe. And I finished there. I wanted something to do that was bringing women together. I started studying with the guru about the Mahadevas and these women, Shakti women of power and essence. And we were looking at the Vedic goddesses, and I was not looking at the African goddesses and Orishas. But that's where I'm transitioning at the moment, or the Olmec goddesses or gods. And we were able to come together with a sister who seemed to have been ready to create a virtual platform. And there we consider economic and cultural and economic issues. And we consider spiritual development, physical development, and most of all, the sacred masculine and feminine. So starting out as a sistered circle with men coming one day, we transition into men being there all the time to balance the yin and the yang energy, and it's working out beautifully. We've had beautiful guest speakers. Dr. Sister ChenziRa is actually been invited to be a regular member of ours, and she could be at our planning meetings, and also her husband was our last guest. I think that was a week ago. Were you there, Dr. Sandra? Yes, that's where you were. And so we had the power and the energy and the insights that really awaken the audience. I can't say that they're always ready for this kind of going back, Sankofa, into our history, and then coming back and really relating it to where we ought to be and where we are. But I'd say for the majority of people were thrilled. Most of them stayed, I think we went 30 minutes over. We stayed an extra hour actually over the 3 o'clock closure that we normally have. And that's a tribute to Neb Kahar. He was phenomenal, awakening in us the power of who we are and reminding us as women that we have the responsibility to be the creators, to bring wisdom, to bring insight, and to lead, and left us with a beautiful challenge. Each speaker brings a challenge, which we work on. I think when in our off week, we are to meet and work on these challenges to improve our own lives. So we find that the format is working, and we're trying to bring more people into the loop for the Mahant Sisterhood Circle. More teachers, Sister Dr. SandRa, you are welcomed to come and teach us. And we will send out the invitation as soon as we can. We've had also entertainers. Our first session, we had an Mbongi, Jessica Mbangini from South Africa. She came and she praised and she asked for blessings on us as a group of women. And we feel we've been blessed ever since. We've had Don Dada, who we style him as a prophet, who is a teacher that teaches his community in Joburg and Zimbabwe and all over South Africa, from the principles he knows as a Rastafari, of his principles of love, respect, and honor, respect of the women, and the duty that one has to one's home and family. We've had really great persons that are well represented and say in the community. So it's been a wonderful experience. We just watch this grow and expand by bringing in people like yourselves, Dr. Sandra, Dr. ChenziRa, her husband, and bringing in her academies, Smatawi. We are looking forward to offering persons courses of education where they could choose to learn more on their own time. We're bringing to persons and the community, not only in Jamaica, but worldwide, since this is Zoom, it goes worldwide, and we have people in Zambia, West Africa, Senegal, South Africa, Joburg, Zimbabwe. We have them everywhere, and it is a wonderful place. We look forward to post-COVID to have a physical place as well where we can meet.
Thanks. Thanks. SntDr, am I to indulge myself?
Of course. That's how we're moving. That's what we're doing.
So, Ambassador, Your Excellency, I mean, I want to rehearse that. I know it's relatively new because you were appointed, I think, in January.
Yes.
The Ambassador in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the State of the African Diaspora, and you're representing the 6th region of the Africa Union. Now, all of that is huge. On top of it, you're a spiritual African woman. So I have a question, because oftentimes we find ourselves kind of almost schizophrenic. So, you're in your professional space and people don't want to hear about spirituality. They don't want to hear about balance, about empowerment. They just want to do things the way that things have always been done. Here you come and you bring all of this holistic approach to being in business, in dealing with foreign affairs, in dealing with Pan-African organization, the whole kit caboodle. do you have any thoughts? And I know it's early days, but do you have any thoughts about that which was and that which will now be? Because you are entering that space, and not that there aren't other women in that space, but I know other women in that space often do a very kind of typical historical approach. They're not that comfortable bringing the fullness of themselves. And in my humble opinion, what we need is the fullness of ourselves. So do you have any thoughts about what, how, where, when? Because the whole world is waiting and needs this new way of being.
Yes, and when I was on the outside looking in, I was looking at Marianne Williamson, whom we thought leaders know her for her poetry as a thought leader. And there she was, how would you say? There she was vying for a position in politics. And I said, wow, go Marianne, if that's where Spirit is leading. And Spirit is leading that way because we need to do exactly everything you said. We need to bring the feminine wisdom, the sacred feminine. We need to bring the power of who and what women stand for as spiritual beings into that space. It is needed so much more than ever before, and we have to be there. I'm not saying that I'm here unwillingly, but it's not a place that I really thought would be the place for me. And it happened very suddenly, maybe cunningly. It happens to get me in. So now that I'm in, we have to say, well, what are you going to do? And how are you going to do it? These are the questions I'm asking myself. So one of the first opportunities I had was the minister said, you know, there's a project that's near and dear to my heart, and it's called the Ambassadors at Large program. And we would like to appoint some ambassadors. And the first ones that came to mind were not female ambassadors, strangely enough, but they were leaders who were shining their light. And one of those was Don Dada. He is Menelik Nesta Gibbons, and he happens to be a rap poet, a rap artist, but his genre is rap reggae. He feels comfortable bridging both, and is very powerful, well-grounded. Yes, we had the opportunity to introduce him to Dr. Chan, and she has introduced her audience to this brilliant man. So we brought him on board, and he accepted our invitation. So we have this powerful leader who's going to be speaking to the youth, and I think that's a gift. And secondly, we went to Morgan Heritage. Morgan Heritage, they are Rastafari to the core, and Denroy Morgan was a brilliant star on his own before he got other accolades as ambassador, spiritual ambassador, patriarch, which I call him, having many children that honor and respect him, and being the head of a spiritual organization. We approached him, Roy, Raps, Laza, and they all said yes. And wow, that's great. And then finally, this wasn't my appointment, but I certainly approved 100%. Dr. Marcus Garvey, for all that he stood, Julius Garvey, for all that Dr. Julius Garvey stood for, and his legacy that he brought. Wow, so those are the three, and we ran with that, did our press release, and now we're promoting the Ambassadors at Large program and it has merged and morphed into something even more beautiful. So we're off to a good start. It has morphed into myself having the opportunity to write the letter to ask, can Dr. Garvey, can SOAD endorse Dr. Garvey's program? Sorry for the noise in the background.
You've muted your voice.
can SOAD endorse and help facilitate the Garvey Institute's unveiling of Marcus Garvey's bronze bust in the Africa Union. And I think the date would be August 17th. This is a worldwide historical event because we're looking at Marcus Messiah Garvey as being the champion and hero of the 6th region. And the 6th region is all the states, all the territories, all the realms and nations outside of the continent. For the first time, you have an organization that has the audacity to say that they are going to create a state. And so this state is very much in place with the prime minister, with members of parliament, with ambassadors that are working together for the unification of Africa. This is very exciting. And so we now have the opportunity to be working along with Dr. Julius Garvey, and other things are happening that are very exciting, which I'm lending my skills and talents to. I've joined the journalism caucus to promote all that the Prime Minister, all of the press releases and the updates relating to restitution, identifying arts and artifacts that were stolen from Africa, that were plundered and robbed, identifying them wherever they are, and empowering our ambassadors to go speak to the presidents of those countries from where they were robbed, and then empowering those presidents to speak up, speak to the G8 countries, or the European countries, or America, and to say we want our legacies back. The soul, our soul, is in these arts and artifacts. So I'm proud to be a part of that. The Queen Mother face that is in the Metropolitan Museum as an artifact that he has adopted. So we have an adopt an artifact project as well. So our ambassadors at large will be learning about these artifacts and asking that they be returned. So these are projects that, first off, have manifested, and I have accepted and put my support around them. If there are energies that are not congruent with me and how I feel and how I believe, then I will back off. But so far, I am I'm doing well with some positive energies, and an easy task or challenge for our ambassadors to go out there and request that unwitting presidents and presidents who probably don't want to face European and American leaders to say, well, we want our treasures back, whatever it takes. And we'll do everything to get them back. We have court of public opinion out there, all of these. So I want to say that the journalistic corps is a caucus, actually, of journalists from around the world. They will be disseminating information periodically, monthly, leading up to the July Africa-France Summit. And so we're feeling that with the pressure that will be, and the news and the publicity, they're on television, they're on print, they're in magazines, they're online, they're everywhere. The talk is going to be everywhere at the same time, ubiquitous. So we are feeling that with these energies, we're going to get some action from the synchronization of the speaking out and advocating for the return. And then there is a spiritual caucus. Spiritual leaders are going to be speaking out around the same time. And political leaders, we're going to ask those who are in favor of Pan-Africanism to speak out as well. And I think I won't be approaching, but they're going to be looking for Kamala Harris to be saying something, or Obama to be saying something about treasures that are held in the Metropolitan Museum, treasures that are held in the Harvard Museum, of which he was chairing the law. I forgot exactly the wing that he was chairing. So we're asking persons to be responsible and to step up and respond. So it's quite exciting, these projects that have arisen. And so that's where I am from January until now.
So, Dr., you have unmuted your mic. So are you going to say something?
Well, you look like you were in a space to really take the second part of your question. I just like my short interlude, because we know that we have to be very respectful of our sister queen grandmother's, Her Excellency's time, and we recognize that she has some appropriate affairs, pressing affairs that she has to attend. So I was leaving her with the opportunity to share. I'd like for you to speak to what I'm going to share on my screen in a moment, because I think it's important that persons don't get overwhelmed with the busyness of my links, but that they just take a moment to review and see.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
We are in line, because I'm holding up Living Life as a Sacred Practice.
There we go. Her publication, Living Life as a Sacred Practice. And you can gather more information by going to caribstore.com. We tend to keep saying www. But if you just caribstore.com, you'll be able to see a very engaging website that speaks to everything that you would desire to need, health and wellness, home supplies, fashion, crafts, books, electronics, phones, wellness, construction. There's a lot. And so it's a space that you can go and know that there are, again, this is the part that has stuck out for a lot of us, Caribbean and African online distribution channel. Did you get that?
Nice. Nice.
Me not need Amazon. I'm just saying.
Just say it again. Just say it again. For those who didn't hear.
Need Amazon. I'm like, because it's good to see that we're doing our internal, yet external, entrepreneurial piece. I always give a powerful shout out to her divine king man.
The king man is inspired by Marcus Messiah Garvey, and he takes his lessons direct from that saint, that patriarch, that prophet. He doesn't wait. When trends are popping, he just goes within. He says, the ancestors speak to me, and he goes, he studies, and he creates. He just keeps creating. And this is one of the sites that he loves and holds dear. There are other sites like the Lumi Marketplace. He sold that because when the hierarchy of Sawat came and they saw that he had created the Lumi Marketplace to support the growth of the currency of the 6th region, they said, wow, this is what we want. We need a marketplace. So the Lumi Marketplace was sold. And he says, you see what I said, my queen? You see what I said? You have to continue to be consistent and build real estate. And you can sell to those that come, that are seeking. So sometimes we wonder why we're doing things, and either you'll get partnership or you'll get direct outright sales for those as you help others to develop their vision. So Dr. Chen, your books are welcome.
I appreciate
what you sell, your CDs. Also, my other sister, Dr. SandRa, anything that you want to sell. We're just working on the logistics now, because I think we have the gateway and everything. We have the point of sale mechanism. We have everything ready, almost everything ready, to be able to have logistical support for you to put in your shopping cart and get it delivered to your door.
That's what we're talking about. I'm just saying.
Wonderful.
caribstore.com. It has been put into the chat for those persons that forgot what we just said. It is in the chat. Just know this.
And it will be on my IG, my Instagram, on my website, on my Facebook, on my everything. People need to know. People need to know.
Dr. Chen
Yes.
and Dr. SandRa, we are also developing a program for what do we call it? Group crowdfunding, Caribbean crowdfunding. So as soon as that's ready, we'll let you know to send your programs, your projects, send your projects to parischambers@gmail.com. And then we can do an individual appointment where we'll discuss it. And then we'll post it to the site and then promote it.
Wonderful.
Right. I think persons are from all over. Theo put out a feeler for that, and people are coming from all over West Africa. And they were anxious for, help. And they have so many great ideas. So we have to make this crowdfunding work for our brothers and sisters out there to change the paradigm in their lives, for them to bring forward these wonderful ideas. We heard through the SOAD network that 2 African brothers developed a SIM-less card phone, no SIM. There's lots of great ideas out there, and we need to have that platform. I know, Dr. Chen, you would say the think tank, to have those think tanks out there, technology. We were thinking of that and wondered if SOAD had a technology think tank, because we need those young brothers there with us, supporting them and not having them snatched away to be taken under someone else's wing, and we never see their works again except when it's being resold to us at the highest price. So we have a call out there for the young entrepreneurs. They're calling on us, and we need to respond with our ideas to be able to bring them into a network where we can help them to grow and help to buy their products, also buy their products so that they can survive.
Your Excellency, you're speaking about things that are so very important in the 6th region. The world is wanting to know how to respond. You have these movements like Black Lives Matter and all these, but there's still a disconnect between our young people and our elders. Our ability to earn money, to be entrepreneurial, and to also be spiritual. There's a need for that glue. And when I listen to you speak, I hear that ankhversation. I hear that platform, that space for young women who want to be in leadership roles, to see a woman in a leadership role that is not afraid of politics, enterprise, going across nation states. What you're speaking about is a movement, and I'm very excited about the ambassadors at large. My fellow African Queen Mother Warrior and I and other African Queen Mother Warriors, that cultural warriors, which is when I hear you speak about Don Dada and Morgan Heritage and the son of the Right Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, Dr. Julius Garvey, I hear a new sound. The cultural warriors are coming, the philosophy of spiritual people, of African-centered people, coming through a leader that looks like you, that sounds like you, that is bringing forth this new ankhversation. To me, is very, very inspiring, very exciting. I am in a different, I was raised in the United Kingdom, in the belly of the beast. And so when I hear us speak of the 6th region, my ears prick up. When I hear us speak of young people, my ears prick up. So I just wonder if there's any message that you would have for the young people who are, the movement is happening, the Black Lives Matter, and the people have and also the allies, because there are some allies on standby wanting to know what they can do. Do you have any thoughts about that? I think for me, I take a slight departure because I was raised to ask for things, but I think African people need to demand things. I'm kind of like, okay, we asked you and you won't give it to us because you're not inclined to. It's ours, give it back. So that's a lot I just put on the table. I just wonder if you have any thoughts as I sit here as a student at your feet.
Well, we are all students and we all can teach. So we're all students at each other's feet. That's a unique way to look at it. We know one group has the answer, and I'm not sure if we're going to get the answer from the systems that prevailed prior to this great reset that we're on. We've been asked, we have been given a pause by the universe. What do we do with it, right? And so here we go. Women are stepping forward into their power. Women in the world, young women, every kind of women. I've seen women on made an appeal that was so powerful. One woman, she was speaking to men. She says, "Men, where are you? We're waiting for you. Step forward." And so there was a cry from her womb, the wombed man. There was a cry for her to be joined, a wholeness. There is that cry, that spiritual cry for the coming together of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine, so that the world itself could be balanced again. And so in this balancing, before that happens, we know a lot of darkness are coming up. A lot of things are being stirred and things coming up for healing. And so as we prepare, as we deal with that and the upheaval, let us continue to hold each other in the light and in love, and be concerned with each other's welfare, that each other are eating, that each other, we have to find that network. You know, if we're going to use the blowhorn, if we're going to use the sacred way, however we talk to each other in our sacred way, we must use it and find to make sure that our communities are eating, they're well, and they're going to survive this period into the period now where women lead us into a wholesome, peaceful society where everyone gets the benefit, where sickness and death and dying are no longer going to be what is pushed, because we're going to learn how to give our bodies what we need for the balancing of our own immune system. We're to allow the immune system, the body, to be the healer, the body to be the doctor. It already has a pharmacy. Just give it what it needs. So we're going to come into awareness of the power of the beingness that we are. We are also going to allow our young African brothers to start producing and creating at home without having to travel or traverse through rough seas and rough roads to go someplace where they're not wanted. That has to change. When a country has all the raw material and all the resources that it needs to survive, why is it that we send our people away, our young people? And so we want to regain the power to control, regain the power to vision our future. And I see it happening in many African countries. I see it happening in Ghana. They have their space satellite out there, and they have the Wakanda city. Senegal has the Wakanda city. They're building to bring the diaspora home. Ambassador AfRaKa, the former ambassador to the UN, to America, has created her own cryptocurrency that is going to be used in her own network to sell these beautiful units to African Americans who are coming home. So we know that builders are going to be needed over there. Professional people are going to be needed. They need to build bridges over there in Ghana and all over Africa. We're going to see a resurgence. We need our people to go home. It is time for the creators to return to Africa, to build Africa. And so the young people need to get the message that it's all there. They just need to stay the course, and we need educators to start educating in Africa. And you know, we've got to get that message out that it is all there, and what they're waiting for, looking for, is all there, and it's also within them. Sometimes they feel bereft of the power or bereft of the energy to create because they were told they're nothing, and they're looking out to someone else to take out of someone else's hand when the power is already in their hands. So the women who are leading needs to tell her people, you have it all here, and the cards have lined up. The cards have lined up, and the stars have lined up, and it is lined up right here where you are. We are going to work together. So people must be willing to work together with what they have to get what they want. And we have ways of saying how we fashion something out of nothing, almost. We've seen our grandparents do miraculous things with little money. They built a family, sent their children to school. We know that all these things are possible if we stop loving and lusting after materialism, because the materialism is just like ephemeral. It's here today and it's gone tomorrow. We need to use the values, go back to African values, the values of Mahat. It has been the source and benefit of people for millennia, the Kemetians. Why can't we use the full value of, and I say the full value of the Mahat, because we're not taking just the 10 commandments. We're taking all the 42 laws and we're learning them, and then we're living them. So how could we live and create a future that can give us everything we want if we have nothing to build it on? How could you build a house without a foundation? We need our own foundation. It has to be an African foundation because we are an African people. And so we have to, sort of like a snake comes out of a skin that it doesn't need. We need to come out of a skin and ideas that we don't need and just toss them. And we need to come into spiritual places where we can uplift each other, feed each other. And Rastafari talks about that all the time. That one of their duty is to feed and clothe those who are in need. This is also our duty as Africans, as spiritual beings. So whatever needs to be done is going to come from within, not from without. Even if you don't belong to an organization, you're still getting the impulses from the cosmic energy and forces out there. If you have an open heart, the channels are open, all of those cosmic energies are coming in and they are having an impact on you. Those generational forces that are within the DNA are going to have an impact. You will know what to do and you will know how to do it. And so we don't have to be overly concerned about when we're going to act and how we're going to act. We need to work on ourselves. That is the revolutionary part. We need to work on ourselves, our own connectedness to the universe. Yes, once we're connected, then we can get those impulses, because all of the wars and the battles that we fight are not all going to be bloody and physical. Some of them are going to be celestial, and we have to be ready for those and those impulses that are coming to us right now. Wow. Yes, and look at your background, Dr. SandRa. You are ready. You are there. You are in the cosmic field of consciousness, receiving giving, and being. What more can we ask for?
You know, it's good to be among divine ones. So when I co-host with African Queen Mother Warrior Snt.Dr. Chen, I'm always in the presence of greatness. So now it's duplicated. So I'm full.
Duplicated.
May I read a poem for you on
Please.
my departure?
Please.
Greatness is everywhere around us. And when we allow ourselves to be quiet, we are in touch with that greatness within us through that quietude within our very beings. And to have the humility to recognize greatness in others is a beautiful thing, because some can't do it. And I love the way that you both do that, and the humility. I have not seen greater humility than I have seen with my doctor, sister, Queen Mother Warrior, Dr. Chen, and also Dr. SandRa. I have not seen such humility. Thank you so much. It is indeed a blessing.
Dr. Chen.
This one is from my second book, Living Life as a Sacred Practice, and my third book has offered itself, Dr. Chen. We'll talk about that. It's about the sacred Queen Mothers. We have to let their voices be heard. The ascension of the sacred feminine. It came as a total gift. I changed very little from out of the meditation from which it has come. The divine feminine as the matrix of creation. I am the sacred feminine that was silenced by those who wanted to ascend my throne, to brush me aside into obscurity in the ash heaps of eternity. However, like Isis and Osiris, I gathered my consciousness, other parts, and reconnected to my greatness. I am the sacred feminine, the mother of creation, the mother goddess. I am the I am, goddess eternal. I and my sister Gaia, Mother Earth, are one. We have ascended to the throne to love, to forgive, to honor and respect and teach our mystical truth as the sage within, never to be silenced in this generation. We will reveal the feminine nature in males and females, awakening the yin and yang in every being and their connectedness to the universe. We will use nature's electromagnetic force, the energetic field, to reconnect to humanity. We are ready to express our magical arts, to speak and move at the speed of light. That's right, my sisters. We are entering Mach time, vibrating at the speed of light and love. We are love. We are peace. We are the womb of creation. Repeat after me. I am love.
I am love.
I am peace.
I am peace.
I am the womb of creation.
I am the womb of creation.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
Connecting with your goddess self, ascend your divine throne. Assume your rightful place. Never will you be looked down upon, stamped on, thrown out of churches, Bibles, sacred texts, dishonored, placed behind men, hidden from yourself and other female goddesses. Those who seek and have sought to hide you are being removed, uprooted, and silenced. Going to decline this so that I can finish. Yes, Earth Mother is hurtling through space faster than ever in her history to arrive at this moment when Earth's axis is tilted back to the time when the sacred feminine is honored, worshipped, and elevated. We, the womb, the incubator, the tree of life, cannot be replaced. Cut the umbilical cord, yes. You're on your own, but Mother Earth still looks after you. Connect with her. Ground yourself in her. Honor and love her as you love yourself. You will become balanced, whole, and spiritually grounded. You arrive at this sacred space When you can say, I am a reflection of Mother Earth. I am the sacred feminine. I am a goddess born into creation, each moment ever manifesting in the now. And so it is.
Ashe.
Ashe. What a blessing. What a
Give
fact.
thanks, Sister Dr. Queen ChenziRa. You have heard that before, but every time I read it, I get something new.
You would.
Yes, I hope you do too.
Always, always. It's a beautiful
Yes.
sharing. And we're very
Thank you.
grateful to have you join us. And we look forward to you returning at another time, our entire 2-hour spread, to give us even more of the knowledge, wisdom, skills, talents, and expertise that you bring from a very powerful space as a most divine, illustrious, eloquent, powerful healer, queen, grandmother, African queen, mother, warrior, and an entrepreneur, not just an entrepreneur, because you're not doing just the entree. You're doing an a very spiritual, guided type of entrepreneurial space. And we're very grateful for what you've shared with us. You've given a lot of suggestions, resolutions, and action-driven programs that persons can add to what they do every single day. Because building legacy is 360. It's full. And,
Yes.
and for that, we're very grateful. And
Thank you so much.
For your space. Give thanks and praise.
Give thanks.
Yes.
Dua.
Dua winter. Blessings.
In Mahat.
In Mahat.
We return to the fullness of all that we are. And so it is. Blessed love.
Blessed love.
Blessed love.
I think we need a short interlude of music. So
yeah, you have to digest your food.
Yes, you're doing the music while I'm leaving. I live for music.
Okay, then you want to hear this one. You may like to. You need.
Let me see if I connect with my call and then listen to the music.
There you go.
I might tell you about things you don't really care about. I might talk about some things that you never yet hear about. But them kind of things I can't fret nor fear about. I got things that need to be said and get clear out. So if you touch us on our minded, time to clear out. I about to tear out. So things that might make you pull your hair out. I don't care if you hear out my voice. Let the truth of my whispers rise above the noise and confusion. From TVs and radio stations, devices of brainwashing and mind manipulation, causing mutated manifestations of manipulative chakras, possessing the souls of black folk with the spirit of backless. In these times, the crackers control the wit from control towers by remote through microchips slipped into your brains during hours of soaps and sitcoms. They tell you it means situation comedy, but really it means sit and comply completely with the mindsets, attitudes, and values of the prevailing system. Electronic valium to quell the people's thirst for freedom. You see them, men who should be kings like Simba, fashioning themselves as clowns like Pumbaa. Men who should be warriors like Ganga, Zumba, and Zumbi, fashioning themselves as gangster zombies, cannibalizing the flesh of their own communities. Living dead, say they're red, blue, or red, but it's really white that rules their heads. Some even call themselves dreads and gangster ras. What the ras are hearing? What must happen to the flock when the shepherd is a leopard who refuses to change his spots, who will do anything to keep his spot in the spotlight? Something is not right. Music is a sustainer of life, but how can we survive feeding on vibes which emphasize the taking of lives of others like us on the inside of hard times, and advertise on behalf of guys who never buy from us unless they buy us? Music is such a rush, but something got to be wrong when every love song is really an ode to lust. That why Viagra sell out for half of them pipes bust from the pressure Music is supposed to be joy and pleasure, but it will bring doom when every tune is but jam and waist walking. Got children partying in mental chains, so their feet are fast, but their minds are shuffling. Nothing will help you when the rhythms you dance to, the beats you go into trance to, fail to advance you in any way and romance you away from yourself. Your spirit wants to find heaven, but your brain is imprisoned behind 16 bars.
Log on.
Your minds are shuffling, nothing. Living dead, but it's really white, but it's really white.
Adrian Green. We're just going to say that name together.
Adrian Green.
That is his work, Interslavement, the Parliament Rhythm. Check out the name, Interslavement.
I'm taking that right into my meeting, the Parliament Rhythm. Give thanks and praise. It's a pleasure to meet Adrian Green.
Always a pleasure.
Peace and love.
Greetings from Jamaica.
It is greetings and give thanks. It's like a joyous moment when you get a chance to share that. And when we go into these next iterations of building legacy, it's because what we're aiming to do, it's important that we hear the word sound power that comes from our cultural creatives navigate. Our regal, royal, eloquent, cultural creatives. And we're adding that because Adrian Green, in addition to being beyond his highest potential as a spoken word artist, he brings that cultural creative essence of Ma'at, of truth, justice, order, reciprocity, balance, divine righteousness, and harmony through his words. And that creativity with the music and the dub and the vibe. And then he's a wonderful brother, king man, that's bringing so much light. There's so many lessons that are learned in each one of his pieces of creative work, that you get a history lesson, a cultural heritage lesson, some clarity on jurisprudence, definitely geography, among other things that help us to unlock, unplug from the chaos that many of us are plugged into. And I'm saying this collectively, not you, I'm saying collectively us. And to hear the manner in which he teaches and shares takes him even outside of that craft. So it does become academic. It does become an exemplary piece of understanding jurisprudence, the legalities of what we're handling. And it is a grounding for building legacy. Building legacy without having the right mindset is like building a 5,000 square foot home on sand that is sinking. There you go. There you go.
You know what? I was just holding on to every word you said, because it's all that and more. I mean, we have to get him on Building Legacy. We have to.
We're working on it. We're working on it. The plan was to encourage him to, if his time and schedule permits. If
bring him in. He has to come in. Let me tell you. You see, we call him a creative. He is a life force whirlwind. He is a cultural warrior, undiluted. His potency in his word and meaning and delivery cuts through all things. He aligns the intellectual with the emotional, with historical, with the future, the present, the past, the hurt, and all of that. That's what he does. And so effortlessly.
Right. Like, I just look for the sweat. I used to watch him to just, and I guess maybe like at the end of the set, you might see, you know, from out, because it's usually in a hot space, that you would see that. But it was like, he could go from how we're just talking regularly, and it's like, choop, oh, fire. I said, what? And I am, and the humility. Okay, for those that aren't familiar, I really encourage you to, you know, we're going to play another one of his selections towards our closing. Just so
and you could play that one again if you felt like it, like you could if you wanted to. I'm just saying. Anyhow, I know time is limited.
And we might. It's just that, you know, when we have a lot of his selections, and it's wonderful to have the permission to have his selections shared. So that way, you know, powers that be that we're navigating through do not, you know, cut into what is available for our viewers and our listeners, you know. And there's a particular CD called Heart Ears. And I thought, it's some years back. However, the word sound power is still relevant. It's, you know, how you can listen to how you can listen to Bob Marley songs forever and feel like it was written for today.
Music. Okay. It's music. It's teachings. It's parables and philosophy. It is principles and practice. It is. That's what it is. And so there is a lot. When he comes, we will share his works. Mm-hmm. I was just saying, in case people weren't listening properly the first time.
and I humble to that, so that will be what it shall say. That's what it shall be. And
only if we have time, though. Only if we have time.
We will make it so that we have all of that in full. You know, I really am grateful that we are even have had the opportunity to follow up a very powerful sharing on building legacy today.
Yes.
You know, having our illustrious Queen Grandmother, Her Excellency Sharon Oshun.
Wow. You
know, share that words sound power towards her closure that comes right out of her work, Living Life as a Sacred Practice. Listen to the title, Living Life as a Sacred Practice. So this is like imbued in everything that's being done. And to hear about her entrepreneurial endeavors alongside her beloved Divine Kingman, Baba Theo, and we say most honorable Baba Theo Chambers, because, you know, he's like the whiz when it comes to technology and navigation through the technology and making sure that persons can see, market, get clear. And we're looking forward to having him join us in the future as well. And to hear about these different organizational linkages that are grounded with, you know, international entities like the African Union, you know, linked to work that is parallel to the United Nations, and the respective offices of human rights, etc. And know that this has a linkage as well to the African, more correctly, global African efforts and movements that are happening right there in the UK. I was corrected today as I was listening to our African Queen Mother Warrior, Sister Isis's broadcast, Speak Your Truth. It was just like fire today. And I'm glad that I was able to get into a segment and hear a reference where we say Britain, her guest kept saying more like brutal.
That's right. The brutish.
There we go.
The brutish.
There we go. Okay, see, so see, there's a common term on your side. So for me, it was like brand new. I was like, oh, there's some.
No. Us Africans know how brutish they are. In fact, the whole world knows.
Okay.
But what happens is a sanitizing of the terrorism, of the brutality, of the exploitation. You know, the past masters at cleaning up their nastiness. They are brutish.
And so that was important for us to learn, again, the power, if you're going to use English, which, to quote you,
it's not our first language.
And it was wonderful. It was really wonderful to just hear the very, very clear, definitive historical chronology of what has transpired and how we move forward. So part of what I had, would look forward to us being able to have some discourse today, as we continue with our conversation, is really around that, because it's been a moment since we've had that opportunity. We know too that today, and I had shared this a little earlier, is an inaugural observance coming out of South Africa to honor Happy Ancestors Day and to embrace that. And I'd like to share this as it was shared from the African National Congress. It is a proud moment for the masses of our people as they acknowledge those who came before us, and as a liberation movement with a historical mission for the total emancipation of our people and restoration of our land. We wish all Africans a happy Ancestors Day, May 8th, 2021. And I thought it was really powerful because sometimes we don't create our own holidays like before. We kind of go along with what the systems and the colonized entities and the brutish say and their counterparts in the Americas. We say United Snakes of America. Some people don't get that. Some people will go as far as this AmeriClan and just leave it there. And so there's been this ongoing, again, two entities that are one and the same. And this gives us an opportunity to give regality and restorative royalness to our ancestors based on how we intend.
Through our lens, with our tongue, based on our experience. Not to legitimize ourselves through someone else's lens, or someone else who's brutish, to say, well, that didn't hurt. We did that, but that didn't hurt you, or it wasn't actually me who did it. I live off of the spoils of my ancestors, but why have you got to talk about it just because you're living in an impoverished state that we lied to you, and your women are 40%, you're at risk when you give birth in our system.
What? And you're right. You are absolutely right. That's why when you say that, notice I had to just kind of lean back again. I said, okay, buddy, we're gonna watch. We're gonna see.
It's very hard. It's very, very hard. I am so thrilled to be partnering with you to do these broadcasts, because across the water Africans need to be speaking to each other about what has happened to us and what is happening still. What is happening still, and it is perpetuated through an education system where even those who look like us are actually agents of a people who don't like us. So as African Queen Mother Warrior,
Yes.
Sister Isis reminds us, all skin folk is not kinfolk. There are people in certain sectors who have acquired title and position. And based on the acquired title and position given to them by the brutish or the Eurocentric system, then feel it's okay to gather together to oppress other Africans. I'm going to talk about this very soon, very, very soon, because I have had enough. And I'm meeting Africans who have also had enough, where we see ourselves, we see our reflections, think that we're safe, and find we're not safe at all. Because we've been brainwashed and we have our legitimacy based in someone else's lens or someone else's tongue. It has to stop. Okay.
On that, we couldn't.
I love you, Queen. You are just, sorry.
And I love you right forward, because like I needed to show this piece. So today's Speak Your Truth show with our illustrious African Queen Mother Warrior, Sister Isis Amlak, on Fertility Radio. I love it, with Eclectic Goddess. I love that. And what was powerful, and I encourage persons to, in the UK, 4 to 6, and those of us that forget that it's 5 hours ahead instead of 4 hours like before, 11 to 1 on the East Coast, and navigate all the other hours accordingly. But today's program, and I need to give a special shout out. I did not get to meet this sister yet, but I know that this is like another one of our sister in our yard, because our beloved African Queen Mother Warrior, Sister Isis, was in this versation, this powerful versation with Sister Sibo Nanjalo. I had to kind of catch myself. And I love the reference in terms of her being born in the UK, but I love it, of parents from Caribbean.
Caribbean, yes. Many of us, let me tell you.
Listen, it was when this sister made, when I heard the term brutish, I had to kind of catch my ear. My ear went like peek, peek. And then she started to articulate in a chronological order the types of genocidal terrorism that has been perpetuated for years and years and years and years and years, and generation upon generation upon generation, and how our own people have established a personality that doesn't see it so. So they're worrying about, it's like in America, when they say you following Massa, it's like, Massa, we sick? Yes, Massa, we sick. Massa, we run away? Oh, get them. It was a very interesting parallel across the Atlantic to hear that this is seriously in place. And we see it again in the Caribbean. Things go on in the so-called Royal Council, people going on like they is a duke and a duchess and thing and part of this illegal legacy. I thought it was amazing to hear Sister Sibo really identify things that are happening in real time: housing, welfare, situations, health, etc.
Social policies.
Correct.
Because we are social beings,
Right.
African axiology is around relationships. We are social beings. And so what the brutish system does, it perpetuates the oppression and the marginalization and the exploitation and all of that through its social policies. So you live at a disadvantage, you work at a disadvantage, You are schooled to a disadvantage. Your religion overrides any idea of spirituality. Your perspective is considered to be, they pathologize you. There's something wrong with you. And the whole social spectrum fights against you simply because you're melanin rich. That is it, because we are viewed in a certain way. We are not to be creators of anything. Anything we create, somebody else will claim and make money off of it, because we're not seen to be the leaders and the creators of anything through brutish eyes. If you show up, you're guilty. You're living while Black. Living while Black is a crime right across the Western landscape. That is why they can shoot you in your back, shoot you in your head, shoot you in your bed, shoot you in custody, shoot you in your home, shoot you when you call them to take care of you. I mean, tell me that's something other than brutish.
And then,
translate me.
And then the other piece that's parallel to that, because there's two pieces I'd like to highlight that are parallel to that. While the brutish institution, system, etc., are as they are, and their child that they claimed was a colony and then became independent, but still ties its money, land, and jurisprudence, tort law, to itself, AmeriClan. And AmeriClan state that people thought was so independent, but it's actually called the State of Israel, in land that was taken, that was Palestine, and now is just a strip. As recent as the end of April, there have been reports in a variety of media. And I want to just read this so we understand what this sounds like when you said what happens to melanin rich people. Israel orders the deportation of dozens of African Hebrew Israelites. I need that to simmer for our viewers and listeners, because this is something, and this particular report we're sharing from, for those persons, I like to show people so they don't think that I came to start NAR, right? And we can look very clearly at this particular document, and I'm going to navigate so that persons can see for themselves, right? And we're talking about a 46 family community in Dimona that they are shocked and gave them 60 days. I need for us to recognize what is happening to melanated people around this. Again, we heard what is transpiring across the Atlantic in the north. We're looking at what's happening in the so-called Holy Land. All right. And what is amazing, what is most amazing is the fact, this part right here. The community of 3,000 stems from a migration of African Americans from the Chicago area in the late 1960s. That tells you how long. The status of the community was in effective limbo until 2003, when the ministry granted some members citizenship and others either permanent or temporary residency. Others were left without status, okay? It's very important that we recognize what is happening in terms of deportation, forced, what they call forced migration, et cetera, that is happening with people that are melanated, African ancestral people. And I say this so that I can then go to what we found out quite recently that's happening in our homeland. Yesterday, we had the opportunity and privilege to do an interview with 5 Ghanaian national youth organizers from 5 different organizations, 5 different political parties and these are their youth wing. And I'd like to just highlight that what they have shared with us with this coalition of national youth organizers in Ghana, West Africa, Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah's space, for those that may not navigate First Independent Republic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. What was the most engaging conversation were the issues that are going to sound very, very, very familiar that they shared with us. And it took a moment for me to properly navigate it because they were planning, this was all part of a demonstration. They were organizing Youth for Peace, #FixTheNation. Check that out. Youth for Peace, #FixTheNation. And I need to make sure that I take a minute to share these young organizers' names. Jude Bama of the Great Consolidated Popular Party, Faisal Sadat Abu of the Progressive People's Party, Mark Ewusu Arko of the People's National Convention, Osai Kofi Akwa, National Youth Organizer for the CPP, one of the oldest parties in Ghana, and Al-Hassan Shaibu Abu, another national youth organizer for the All People's Congress. And I want to highlight, this was a coalition for national youth organizers in Ghana. When I started to introduce them now, because I'm thinking, national youth organizers, they students, whatever, I hearing listen to these credentials: baccalaureate in commerce, baccalaureate in engineering, Masters of Science in Cybersecurity and Data Forensics. I just want you to hear this. And I'm listening to these youth say that they can't get the work after having all these degrees and credentials in their own home. Okay, I just want to pause. Their demonstration topics that they shared with us. And I encourage persons to just go, it's still on Facebook. It will be available on YouTube in the next couple of days. But listen to their concerns: high level corruption, high level of graduate unemployment, high taxes in difficult and challenging times, increasing road accidents due to bad roads, government supervision and failure to deal with Chinese illegal mining, high cost of living amongst Ghanaians, no pragmatic policy on youth development from teenagehood to adulthood. Doesn't that sound familiar? That's why I'm bringing these points up. So what we're hearing in UK, American, Caribbean, Ghana, Israel, and we can go on because we haven't pulled up West Papua New Guinea yet. That's another one where our melanated, original, regal, ancestral African people in contemporary times are exposed to forms of institutionalized genocide and terrorism that is no longer tolerable. It's just no longer tolerable. No longer tolerable. And I think I should pause there. I almost feel like we need a song. I feel like we need a song.
So before you play the song,
okay, no, I wasn't going to. I'm just.
Yeah, no, and I think music helps to consolidate, and it helps to ease, and it helps to balance. Music is science, so we should hear music. I wanted to just say that which you are speaking of is why it is we should do what we're doing here around the building legacy. Because there is this idea that when you divide, you conquer. And so we can't afford to have the divisions that have been imposed on us by notions of nation states. So I'm not an African, I'm a this. I'm not an African, I'm a that. Those notions are what is allowing other people to kill us, because what is planted in our consciousness is the notion that when an African over there is being murdered, it's nothing to do with me. It is everything to do with you. Because if you were the African over there, it doesn't matter what your nation state is, they would murder you too. Because before they run you down and shoot you with a gun, they don't say, oh, excuse me, what is your name? Where do you live? They don't do that. What they do is they see melanin-rich people living while Black, out walking, out jogging, living life, and excessive force is used. This is part of a practice that has been happening for centuries. Dimona, the village of peace, and there's the late spiritual leader, the Honorable Ben-Ami, are not just Africans who went to this place and decided to just live off the state. They are an independent, self-sufficient group, population of peace-loving people who serve in the forces. They do their service, but they live in a self-contained, they grow their own food, they make their own clothes. They don't trouble nobody. They don't trouble nobody. They went there legitimately. At the time they went there, everything was legitimate, but they've changed the rules. So, and that's what happens. People, and it's happened in the UK. You enter the UK at the invitation of the government of the UK, and then the government of the UK decides to change its mind some 40 or 50 years later, and then tells you you're illegal. After you're done, walk out the whole of your gut string in them place there, and give them your tax, and give them your loyalty, and build up their infrastructure. They want to tell you, sir, you're illegal. Tell me they're not brutish. Tell me it's not wickedness personified. Tell me that they can do that in the Caribbean, in the brutish space, in the snakes of wherever. It's long time past intolerable. It has been outrageous for what I want to know is how long we gonna be polite. I don't want to be polite. Polite is what you have imposed on us. Like, you do what you want to us and we mustn't complain. No. We not sick, massa. You sick, massa. And actually, you ain't even massa. I like to put some other letters in the way I address you. I would. But I don't want to shame my mother and my father. But let me tell you something. If on the continent, our African young people who have studied hard and get one piece of paper where they can't eat, understand? They can't eat the piece of paper. You walk across the stage, you get your certificate. Everybody claps their hand and it's a big ritual and you can't get a job. And all you're seeing is corruption around you and other nations coming in and digging out the minerals. They're digging out, them just short of digging out your high. I didn't place that H there by mistake. I left that H there on purpose. Them I dig out your high. Why? Why must we continue to be polite? Call them out. Call them out. You're wrong. You're very, very wrong. And if you want to play music, Most Honorable High Priestess, African Queen, Mother, Warrior, SntDr. I help.
This is a very clear reason, because this ties to what is happening. Again, we did the American, Caribbean, UK, British, Ghana, Israel, Dimona community, and we can only send, because as that is happening inside of Dimona, that too will start to happen in other parts of
course.
places where our African brethren and sisters have repatriated and have given of their blood, sweat, tears, and energy,
And built.
and contributed to building in other nations, and then just to be spit out.
Just like that.
And
the letter.
but I'm just saying 60 days. See, like my mindset went to like this. So 60 days to go where? Like if they had come 60 days before and you knew they had like a temporary something, I hear you. But if you're saying you're giving people that have made their life or were born in a space to parents that are there, and you're giving them 60 days, I mean, at least with 60 days, even if you get pitched out of a place where you reside in certain nations, you can still contest that and at least get up to 180. I'm just saying that I'm looking at the insensitivity at a time that there is a pandemic affecting the entire planet. And this is going to go to what's happening here as I sit by a window breathing lightly, because we have a refinery, one of the, what used to be the second largest in the Western Hemisphere, on an 84 square mile island. And when
I've seen that thing is a monster. That thing is a wickedness. That thing, you know, I've seen that thing. I came to that space where you reside. Beautiful space. Beautiful space. I am being transported from one place to another in this beautiful, beautiful space. And as we come around the corner, I see looming some kind of monstrosity, like it's some kind of horror movie. It's gray, it's fenced in. It looks like you landed in another place. It is in such stark contrast to the place. But it's actually not too far from where people live. This thing that is generating and spewing out poisonous gas, killing people every day. Got some wire fencing thing and just big things with big ladders up and just making what to kill people, and nobody's allowed to say anything.
Right, because if you do, you get ostracized. You get told you don't want development and you interfering with. We get in jobs. People get in employment. People able to take care of their families and children.
And who lives near it? Who lives near it? Are the people with the money living near it? Who's living near it? How many times are we going to watch this wickedness? You construct these things, and then you see it's all about the social policy. Right? We will house you people right next door. And if you end up with cancer, lupus, some other kind of thing, we will not be held responsible for it. We don't know how you got it. The fact that all of you who live near it have got this thing, we don't care. We just spewed out some gas that's burning your lungs, but you're not to complain. Is that what I understand is happening there?
Yes. And that's why because the admissions are consistent. And most of the time, people have learned to tolerate them or get care. And, we bring dehumidifiers and ionizers and air purifiers in our homes. However, it was a time, because this goes back to Hess oil refineries in the 60s. And when that wasn't enough, in the 90s, Hess merged with PDVSA out of South America, and they called it Hovensa. And that continued the legacy of toxic waste, and where profit was more important than the lives of people. And then they shut down when they saw they had to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and to clean up their affairs and pipes and so forth. So what did they do? They gave very little notice and just left, which almost dismantled the economy.
Crime scenes,
Right.
criminals.
And that's it. And granted, there should have been a more assertive, I won't say aggressive, but a more assertive, sustainable type of plan of action. And again, when you're a non-incorporated, non-self-governing territory of the United States of America, still thinking that you're an American, when your citizenship is only the blue passport that they can take away at any time, for those born here and others that are born in the 48 continental US, feel, think, believe, and are allowed to be empowered as if they have more rights than here, then you have another dynamic that persons don't want to talk about. So when we speak of building legacy, what is happening as we speak, our people are at the point, this new refinery, it's not new, but the new owners, Lime Tree Refinery, I want to make sure I say that. They were never supposed to be reopening a catalytic converter that was going to spew out anything. They were going to deal with storage of oil that was already present, storage of oil that was coming from other parts of the world. And they lied. And now they're doing exactly what they were not supposed to do. And we're not supposed to say anything. And see, we smart, you understand? People,
That's horrible. That's a horrible situation.
We know how to read, we know how to study. So even as we speak, different organizational entities within the community are raising questions. Even the St. Croix Environmental Association, alongside other organizations, not-for-profit organizations, have filed a lawsuit. And I want to just highlight, in the midst of all of this, and I have to give him his props, so I want to sit back when I say this. One of our illustrious, eloquent, regal beyond measure, royal elders, Nisu Nebkara SndDr Kasamsura Herishetapaheru was one of the only persons.
Please say his name again.
Of course. Nisu Nebkara SndDr Kasamsura Herishetapaheru. Nisu Nebkara was one of the only native, indigenous, ancestral African sons of this space with the backbone and strength to come with a very detailed testimony. And I won't say that he contested it, because that would come across he doesn't care for development. He identified what were the concerns and issues and what needed to be put in place and on record, and who would be responsible if any loss of life or any interference to the wellness and safety of the humans, plants, animals, and minerals of this space called St. Croix and the entire Virgin Islands caused by their chaos that we already knew they were going to do. They so testified. So it's very interesting, and I see the impact of us giving voice to that, because they will ostracize you. They'll make sure you don't have any income. They'll make sure that you are so on the outs that all types of things will happen to you. And persons do not understand that when we defend our community and defend well, the cost is very high.
The price is high. The price of being an activist, the price of living while Black, the price of protesting that the wrongdoings be stopped. The price is high. The people that look like you will shun you and marginalize you.
Yeah, my son, they're gonna come, they're gonna look like our reflection. We're gonna be like, brother.
The people that to me, it is a serious thing. It is a serious thing to do the right thing. Sometimes it's a very serious thing. And we have to acknowledge those of us who are willing to speak out. Some of us are in spaces where we put up with BS. I don't want to say too much about my own personal situation, but sometimes I'm with some people and they have no idea who they are talking to.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea if I ever open my mouth in those spaces, everything mash up. Everything mash up. But what I do is I hold a meditation and I just let it happen.
Exactly.
Because what happens is they reveal their nonsense.
Yes.
Because when you speak out about certain things,
Mm-hmm.
the price is very high. And they will watch you eat less than dry bread.
Yes, they will.
And they will take great pleasure when what you are doing is not necessarily for you and yours, because you and yours would be fine if you say nothing, except that your spirit will ride you because you will know say you should have said something and you never say it, right? It's for the masses that we speak out. It's for humanity that we speak out. It's for truth, justice, balance, and reciprocity, righteousness, order, divine. It is for all of that that we speak out, not for our personal gain and our personal self. The price is high. I think you should play music.
Well,
now I'm rocking in my chair like a Black woman.
and that's why when we have these reasonings, you know, part of what we're sharing is a combination of things. So I offer this piece that comes from the ANC in regard to March 8th being designated as Ancestors Day, for us to really be in that space of liberation. You know, this is the time of, on the eve of African Liberation Month, because African Liberation Day is the 25th, yes. However, we need the entire month for preparation and observances and educational engagements and cultural heritage, you know, overlays, and just to get our entire world community in that vibration, in that space.
Absolutely.
And so,
may I read it?
Of course, please.
It is a proud moment for the masses of our people as they acknowledge those who came before us, and as a liberation movement with a historical mission for the total emancipation of our people and restoration of our land, we wish all Africans a happy Ancestors Day. 8th of May, 2021. SntDr, most prestigious and highly respected African Queen Mother Warrior SntDr ChenziRa. It is very important, I think, for us to just keep doing this legacy work, keep building legacy, because if we don't do it, pray tell me, who will?
That's why when we talk about these things, and I keep saying, when we talk about these things, it gives us an opportunity.
Did you see that demon who said we shouldn't do this? Did you see that demon? Sorry.
That's why I'm giving thanks. I'm giving thanks because there are a lot of forces that would like to interfere. And the part that I desired to share was actually, it's funny that it was in a magazine coming out of a cultural space in South Africa. I just felt that it's important for persons to also know that there are African royals that are sharing this. So I encourage persons to go to this gq.co.za, and there you will see His Royal Highness Zolani and Kiva. And Ancestors Day is something that they're really pushing and coming through, you know, coming out of South Africa.
I love it.
out of the entire region. And it's important that to celebrate and honor African spirituality, to know that they're doing things in the Matibela Royal Palace in Mpumalanga province. I think it's important that persons know that that's coming forth. And so there's a lot that comes with this, because it's a quote, the inaugural Ancestors Day is the beginning of a meaningful movement by stakeholders within the institution of traditional leadership and the African heritage community. I'm gonna leave that right so.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And let me say, you see this idea of Christmas, and when you see Hagos, when you see Mosiah month arrive, people start put out decoration for Christmas, you know. I prepare for Christmas from in the summer. I believe that we should prepare for our things months and months in advance too. We should have a focus on the things that concern us and less of a focus on the things that harm us, because we need healing. And the people we are waiting for is us. And we are here. So what are we waiting for? I don't need no permission. It was ordained that I should be as I am. So if you don't like it, fight it. That's your tongue, I mean. Keep your mouth shut, you know? If you don't like it, stay far from me. You don't have to come around me. Stay far from me. Energy sucker, stay far. You know, if I want to celebrate my ancestors like you celebrate yours, you have Poppy Day and this day and that day, and you bring out your guardsmen and your whatever, and you just celebrate your whatever you want to celebrate. So why I can't celebrate what I want to celebrate too?
Right.
Then where you come from? You don't know, so you come from us anyhow. Know your place, man. Stay in your lane. Leave us alone before our wrath descends upon you heavily. Now I remove the H from there.
And so, illustrious people, most royal, majestic.
Thanks.
Dr. Sandra Richards, it is always a joy and a privilege to have these reasonments as we gather for building legacy. And we will continue doing this and sharing it, and we encourage our viewers, our listeners, those that support us, and those that do not. I believe that our illustrious sister, Dr. Sandra, has already shared word, sound, power, and strength for you. We're here to build, period. Unapologetically and in accordance with our ancestral, ancient, African, Nubian, Kushner, Kemetu heritage legacy. That continual legacy that incorporates and encompasses all of us everywhere, all of our systems and practices and engagements, all of our journeyways, so that we can bring this to the heights. And we do need healing. And we're saying we collectively, through all of the challenges that are influencing every single iota of our existence. So don't attack us. Facilitate space, or at least lean back. We're grateful. We're grateful. Any closing reflections, please?
I do hope that we're going to hear.
We're going to hear the song you want to hear again. Because you're like, wait. You said, wait. I was getting ready to play I'm African, and she said, no. We need to hear Enter Slave Man one more time. One more time. One more time. One more time.
I love that, brother. I love his brother.
Thank you, brother Adrian Green.
Adrian Green.
I tell you things you don't really care about. I might talk about some things that you never yet hear about, but them kind of things I can't fret nor fear about. I got things that need to be said and get here out. So if you touch us on our minded, time to clear out. I about to tear out. So things that might make you pull your hair out. I don't care if I wear out my voice. Let the truth of my whispers rise above the noise and confusion from TVs and radio stations. Devices of brainwashing and mind manipulation, causing mutated manifestations of manipula chakras, possessing the souls of black folk with the spirit of backward. In these times, the crackers control the wind from control towers by remote through microchips slipped into your brains during hours of soaps and sitcoms. They tell you it means situation comedy, but really it means sit and comply completely with the mindsets, attitudes, and values of the prevailing system. Electronic valium to quell the people's thirst for freedom. You see them, men who should be kings like Simba, fashioning themselves as clowns like Pumbaa. Men who should be warriors like Ganga, Zumba, and Zumbi, fashioning themselves as gangster zombies, cannibalizing the flesh of their own communities. Living dead, say they're red, blue, or red, but it's really white that rules their heads. Some even call themselves dreads and gangster ras. What the ras are hearing? What must happen to the flock when the shepherd is a leopard who refuses to change his spots, who will do anything to keep his spot in the spotlight? Something is not right. Music is a sustainer of life, but how can we survive feeding on vibes which emphasize the taking of lives of others like us on the inside of hard times and advertise on behalf of guys who never buy from us unless they buy us? Music is such a rush, but something got to be wrong when every love song is really an ode to lust. That why Viagra sell out for enough of them pipes bust from the pressure. Music is supposed to be joy and pleasure, but it will bring doom when every tune is but jam and waist walking. Got children partying in mental chains, so their feet are fast, but their minds are shuffling. Nothing will help you when the rhythms you dance to, the beats you go into trance to, fail to advance you in any way and romance you away from yourself. Your spirit wants to find heaven, but your brain is imprisoned behind 16 bars.
Love it.
Joy and a privilege to hear Adrian Green again as we learn, teach, act, share, and build. Building Legacy is a media broadcast with co-hosts Sr.Dr. Sandra Richards and SntDr. ChenziRa Kahina. We hope you've enjoyed this sharing and these ankhversations as we look forward to every second and fourth Saturday here live on Facebook. And we might here for coming into African Liberation Month and go live on YouTube. But stay tuned. Remember, you can send email to ASTSpeaks, ASTSpeaks @gmail.com. You can go to Sr.Dr. Sandra Richards' Facebook page. She loves Instagram. And you can also go ChenziRa Kahina on Facebook. You have a variety of ways to reach out to us. And we are looking forward to you keeping your contribution to building legacy as we move forward.
Give thanks.
And Tara, we're very, very grateful. Very, very grateful. And we're looking forward to our next broadcast as we remember to live free, live safe always, and be in the heights. Protect blessings.